Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. At the beginning of the year, I was talking about what I want to sort of start introducing more to my channel, and how like I really love talking about sort of deeper things, and I'm not a professional or anything. It's literally just like advice I would give if someone was to come to me and ask for advice on different topics. So as I've said a few times, over last year, it was just such a weird year for me, and like I was in a really weird mental state. Like I'm not 100% perfect now, but I feel like I picked up a few things over the course of last year to sort of help me get through life and like get through the day and to sort of pep myself up a bit. And I feel like I had to do that to myself because I have a job where I'm just on my own like a lot of the time. So for like obviously I have some family and friends and things, but a lot of the time I'm on my own and I have to motivate myself. I'm not sure what to title this video because basically I wanted to talk about how to pull yourself out of a bad sort of mental state, a bad place, a dark place, out of a rut, out of feeling like unmotivated or lost. So I know that covers like a whole range of things. The main thing I wanted to say though is this video isn't for people who are sort of diagnosed with depression. I'm not saying this is really for depression. Like I know that's its own whole thing to deal with. Also over the last year I've listened to so many like podcasts and listened to a lot of talks, a lot of speeches, a lot of content like about this topic, and I feel like a lot of the same things do come up, and that then this is like merged with what has helped me and what I try to do. So anyway, this is such a long intro, but yeah, just had to get that all out there so it makes sense and has some context. Overall, what I found is that you have to take action, and I think I just was waiting for ages for like something to happen to sort of pull me out of it. I'm gonna see something and suddenly get pulled out of it. But I think after a while I'm just like, no, I just have to, it has to come from you. I mean, I think this is something that is so common too, like people getting stuck in a rut, and especially if you especially if you work in a creative field, it can be really easy to get stuck somewhere that you don't want to be. It also can be a really comfortable place to be in and to stay because it feels like it's a comfort zone, but it's it's nothing good is going to come from that place. So right, I've got some notes, I'm gonna go through them. So my first thing that I think is really important to start becoming aware of is noticing what you're doing, where you are, maybe who you're around when you start feeling that way, or not even start, but maybe what makes it feel worse. I think the number one thing that really helps is starting to become more self-aware. It's funny because I would have thought that I'm really self-aware, and I feel like I have been for a long time. Because of my job, I have to be really self-aware, but there's often blind spots within ourselves that we don't see. So I think for a while I must have been sort of letting more and more negative thoughts come through without being self-aware enough to not listen to them. I was like giving them space when I shouldn't have. So yeah, even if you have to start noting it down like in your phone or something, when you're like, oh, I feel worse, or maybe if something triggers you, or if you're fine most of the time, then there's one thing that sort of makes you feel like you're really in a rut again. Or I think it's a great first step, because that way you know what you're trying to draw back a bit from. So I feel like though that my next one is that when you start noticing, it can be really easy to then feel guilty for that, to start beating yourself up because you're like, oh, I've got this and this in life, like why should I feel down, like I don't deserve to feel that way. Because you don't know how to get better, you're like angry at yourself, or I have been before anyway. So my next one is to be kind to yourself, and I know it's so, these days everyone is like, be kind to yourself, blah blah blah, but I think you have to let emotions come when they do come. So when you're feeling sad or down, let it happen and hopefully let it pass. If you're having any like low thoughts and then you're beating yourself up for having them, it's obviously a vicious cycle. Being stuck in a place you don't want to be, whatever it is, it's different for everyone. My next thing is to try to look at your situation in life or in whatever aspect it is of your life and see if there's anything you can change now. And a lot of the time there won't be. Like if you hate your job, you can't obviously just leave, like but if there's any, if it's something, like you're hanging around the wrong group of friends that are making you feel bad about yourself, or it could be your Instagram feed that's making you feel low. So anything that you can quite tangibly change in a short space of time, definitely do that. That's your first step, because once you've like identified what's making you feel low, then you can try and change it. But for the things that take longer, I'll come back to that later, because I know some things obviously aren't quick. My next thing is a bit more positive. So get in touch with yourself and notice when you do feel good, and then move closer to those things. So it can be hard as well when you're in a bit of a low place, because there maybe won't be a lot of things making you feel great at that time. But I feel like there is always, if you don't have those things, there's the potential to still have those feelings. So for me, it's doing different types of creative things, like the jewelry that I've been working on, and sort of being, creating content around and things like that, or talking to certain people, or really enjoying a certain topic. Like when it's nighttime, like watching things on TV that make me feel happy and feel good, and that I'm really interested in, like in the least, something that makes you feel that nice, like that good spark. Building this muscle of getting a lot more in touch with yourself, and like asking yourself if there could be anything that motivates you, what would it be? What do you enjoy? What do you feel really like at peace or really alive doing? Like the thing, if someone tells you to stop and you like don't want to stop doing it. I think also tied into that, you could use certain tools to help you with that. So meditation, things like yoga as well, because they're sort of tied with being more in touch with yourself, and just creating your own space. I mean, this could be a notepad, it could be a sketchbook, the right space on social media, like following the right types of things, following more motivating and positive accounts, starting to create where you want to be around you, like however best that is for you. So my next one, I feel like I've already touched on it a bit, but it's start curating your life. Do you know what? It's not even just unfollowing people that make you feel bad about yourself, because I feel like that's, a lot of people do know sort of to do that now, but it's also adding in new people or accounts or speakers. The next one is to start focusing more on whatever that thing is that brings you that little bit of joy and that spark and that, like excited feeling. So this again could be totally different for everyone. You could be someone who is able to just suddenly put loads of time and effort into whatever that is, or I think for most people it's like you can't suddenly spend all of your time doing that one thing you enjoy doing. But I think the trick is to, as little as you can, even if it's like half an hour a day or whatever that thing is, or even if you start immersing yourself in the world of it. So if it's something that you can't particularly do, but you start sort of really learning more about the world of that thing, pushing yourself forward towards that positivity and to what like makes you happy in your heart. And I know it sounds a bit woo-woo, but like we're all gonna die. It was necessary back then, but it is such an old school train of thought to be like, to do well in life, you have to just work, and it doesn't matter if you're unhappy as long as you're working. And I'm just, no, like humans weren't just created to work and die. Like a lot of people have to and have had to for years, of course. But even if you had to do a job that you don't enjoy, for the rest of your life, but you have this thing on the side that you do enjoy and that really like makes you feel happy, that's what I'm saying. It's like at least do some of that. If you can turn that into your job, or if you can end up doing as much as you wanted to, what am I saying? Or if you can end up doing it more and more and more, amazing. But you just need that thing that sort of keeps you going and that you enjoy. And also I was listening to, is it Elizabeth? I love her so much. I've read Eat, Pray, Love and Big Magic, and I need to read a few more of her books as well. But anyway, she was saying that if you're not sure what that thing is that gives you the spark, or if you don't have this passion for something, so that makes you feel bad, then just follow what your curiosities are. And I thought that was such good advice. So whatever you're curious about, follow that. And I just thought that was amazing advice, and that's not from me. Okay, I've got two last things. Something that I always try and remember is that, and again, it might sound corny, but everyone has a purpose, and not like we all have this grand thing that we're supposed to be, but we're all here for some reason, whether that is like one interaction you have in life, that, but like, we're all so interlinked that we, even if you don't realize it, like small interactions you have with other people could change the way they think, or you just don't know. Like, so even if it's something so really small, or if it's what you do with your life, or literally anything, it could be like how much you love your pets. We all do have a purpose. I think just remembering that, even if you don't feel like you do, sometimes we do. And what I've really found more effective recently is something quite simple, and it might sound obvious, but something that actually day to day takes quite a lot of work, is to not feed the negative thoughts, but feed those positive thoughts. So there's a few different things that come into my mind and make me feel really shit about myself, and especially if I've like woken up in the middle of the night and they start like getting louder and louder. I try and distract myself because I don't want to feed and grow those negative thoughts. When you start like going back to those patterns, I now try and like stop them in their tracks, and I'm like, I just don't want you, and just carry on with what you're doing, or start thinking about what you are aiming for in life, and or whatever. It could be like a joke, something that makes you feel happier instead. And it sounds really obvious again, but it's so easy to listen to those negative thought patterns and not realize. So it's being really aware of your thoughts. And this I picked up from, I'll link it down below, but there's a podcast episode on Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul Sundays that I loved. Like, I'll put it down below, I promise. But yeah, the preacher, I think he's a preacher on it, he was saying that like, it's what you nurture. So don't nurture that negative thought, nurture the positive thought. And yeah, I thought that was really helpful. I really hope that this could help some of you, and I hope I didn't sound like a broken record, because some of those things are a little bit similar, but I just think it's nice to just have a long chat about, and like, if there's anything that I want to leave behind, it's videos or just messages that could help and like brighten people. And so yeah, if this video is not for you, that's fine. I don't know why you watched it till now. If there's any other topics that you want me to have like an in-depth chat about, then let me know, because I would love to. Or if there's like anyone you'd like to see me do a chat with or something like that, then let me know, because that could be really fun too. My dress, in case you're wondering, is from Glassworks in London. They're like little boutique shops. And then I'm wearing my Sammi Maria jewellery, New York chain necklace, New York Soho hoops, multiple rings. I'll link the website down below if you're interested in my jewellery. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and do let me know if any of these things helped a little bit, because I'd love to know. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.